We're talking, trying to talk about moving south to here. Everything here is getting so darn expensive. Well, Florida. Land of the free. I don't care. I thought it was fair. I ever seen a man on this free pool. That was you. This is my first year after the re-election. Alan, isn't it? Hey, Alan, you up for re-election? Are you up for re-election this year? Are you up for re-election?
No, you and I aren't for next year.
Oh.
Yeah,
And
so
Joe?
it's Peacock and Carol.
Well, Peacock, Jim. That's it. That's it. That's true.
Hi, Alan.
Hello.
Hey, Alan, you do the prayer?
Yeah, if you want.
You did it last time. He does better than I do.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Something like that. I'm starting to worry about you a lot. Please don't tell me he tripped in the anyway. You know, you've been down the grill.
Anita too, she's here.
I'm sorry. That night is like, oh, give it to you. And it's like,
You need to think that everybody out here is Baptist, because good Baptists never sit on the front row.
Never, never. My wife,
well, you deserve better, so.
my wife will always want to come to this.
That was, I was hoping before.
It drove me crazy.
I can't do that.
Because I'm so tall, I tower over everybody and I'm blocking her view. That's my excuse for saying that.
Yep,
I like to be in the back with the sinners.
see that's the troublemakers. Yeah.
And that way you can hoot and holler.
Talk about all the old ladies with the purple hair.
Testing. All righty, let's go ahead and start. We'll stand up for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty, roll call.
Councilmember Womack,
Present.
Councilmember Lay,
Here,
Vice Mayor Peacock, Councilmember Hartle,
Here.
Mayor Wynkoop.
Here. All righty. Jim, would you do our
I
prayer?
appreciate the offer, but I asked the offer.
Did you? Okay.
Much better after.
Go ahead, Alan, knock it out.
Will you join me in a prayer, opening prayer? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the rain and for our temperatures fluctuating up and down. We ask that tonight you'll be with us, give us counsel, wisdom, give us thought, process of clear thought, clear mind. Help us to go through our agenda tonight in an orderly way. We ask and thank you for those who showed up to voice their voices. Let us be open to what they have to say. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Alrighty. Because we got another long subject tonight, I'm going to go ahead and put the discussion on community building on hold. Let's cover the 5 or 6 things real quick that we got to have done. Update on vendor and for library. Could you go ahead and explain that, Paul?
Sure, Mayor and Council, for the town's purchasing policy, I have an updated vendor list for the library project. And just ask for your approval. The masonry block went up 10,000 as we added the side hallway that wasn't in the original bid. The roofing from Skymark was removed, and we went to Oviedo Claremont Roofing. They were actually about 10,000 cheaper. And Branton Son won the bid for the finishes and acoustics for the building. So I just ask for your approval of the vendor list.
Alrighty. So we had to rebid the roof on the library, and it came in at 10,000 cheaper using a different vendor. Paul needs to have that approved because he can't just say okay to that. I need a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion that we approve the amendment as listed.
Need a second.
I'll second it, Rowan can.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Ayes have it. Alrighty, we'll move forward through these few ordinances and resolutions. Anita, if you would please, 2024-39.
An ordinance of the Town Council, Lake County, Florida, relating to the regulation of the operation of golf carts on public streets within the town of Montverde, amending Chapter 4 of the Town of Montverde Code of Ordinances, providing for repeal of all conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Alrighty, and what this is more or less says that if any road in town limits is 30 miles an hour or less, you can drive a golf cart on it, including 455. So, but if it's 35 miles an hour, you can't. And you have to have certain equipment on your golf cart. I'll open it up to the public. Okay, I'll bring it back to council.
Well, we
Anybody?
passed this thing, what, 9 years ago?
I
9 or 10 years ago?
Yeah.
And I know that we're doing some revisions on it, and I'm not sure where the revisions were. I think I understand. Go ahead.
Hearing you through your mic. Could you pull your mic a little closer, sir? Sorry.
I got it on.
Just pull it a little closer if you can.
Oh, pull it, he said closer. No, pull it closer, he said.
You can't hear my booming voice.
I couldn't. I'm sorry.
Okay. So anyhow, can you explain a couple of the changes, Paul?
Sure. The main change to it is just allowing for more operation on the road since we've switched the 50 or 30 mile an hour speed limit. So I've met with Lake County. They still have an approval thing to do, but when I met with Fred, he says he doesn't see any issue once we approve the resolution. So it would just allow for, say, people on Alpha and Florence View and Mag Terraces to come into town on the 30 mile an hour roads.
So this applies to 455, you said, a county road?
Any road,
It
including.
will once we get the final approval from Lake County.
It will because it says they're prohibited.
It will once the county gives the final sign off on it.
So we added language that says until such time as Lake County approves, then it's prohibited, but once Lake County approves it, then it will no longer be prohibited.
The Public Works Director just needed us to do the resolution first so they could take that up their chain.
I've gotten with Paul and expressed a couple of my concerns. Anita, and one of them is that when we passed this initially, I like the idea of nighttime operation as long as it was correctly lit. And now that's coming in. I like that idea. The sidewalk issue, I can understand that, though we really don't have many pedestrians or joggers. But we also, I'd like to see a caveat in there when it comes to special events. I happen to be I put more miles in my golf cart than I do my cars. And so I like to be able to come to the concerts, pull the golf cart around the edge and sit. I like to come to trunk or treat, decorate my golf cart, hand out candy. Now, this is, I can't go in the park.
So I think if that's something that council would like to have changed, we can certainly make provisions
Special events.
for events and maybe designated parking within the park so that, you know, if you're putting irrigation systems in, you're not going to be damaging the sprinkler system, some regulation of that. But that's up to council. If you would like that included, we can make revisions.
Also, when Jane calls me to pick up trash, I use my cart up and down the trails, pick up all the beer cans and trash and everything else. Same thing, you know, one of those things where if it's in service of the town.
So the trails is something, part of the trails were funded with grant funding, and we're in the process of looking at those documents because some of the grants prohibit the use of any type of motorized instrument on the trails. So we have to make sure that we wouldn't be in violation of those grant agreements.
I guess the only thing I really would like to see is special events, particularly for participants. You know, we're handing out candy. You know, I don't want people saying, hey, he's in there violating our ordinance. I know, Paul.
No, I would just suggest if the rest of the council feels that way, just ask you make a motion to table it and let staff go back and add some provisions into that. And that way Nita could check on the legality of everything and liability.
I so make a motion to table.
I second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Ayes have it. Alrighty, let's go ahead and move on. This is the ordinance that we have to okay the interlocal service boundary agreement again. And it's been changed a little, so we have to make sure that we do this correctly. Since I have everybody here, I want to make sure everybody understands, because I've been getting beat up with, why don't you pay more attention to Montverde, and why do you pay so much attention to Ferndale? Obviously, in my mind it is, and this council's mind is, whatever happens in Ferndale in the next 20 years is a tremendous problem for us, especially if they're building apartments and 6 homes per acre. So we have an interlocal service boundary agreement in place since 2010, and it's been 14 years. It's a 20-year agreement. That's the most you can do. Has 6 years left, and this council decided a year ago to move forward with getting it put back in place for the 14 years we were going to be missing. It's taken a year to do that, and last week, what happened is we did a reading in Claremont, did a reading in Mineola, and you have to do 2 readings in each of those cities. And they didn't want to do their second reading until Lake County passed it. So then we all put our attention on Lake County with the county commissioners and everything. And Anita's help, Paul's help, Sean Park's help, Kirby Smith's help, who's going to be here next Thursday to talk to everybody because I invited him. We got it passed in Lake County last Tuesday. So now Claremont and Mineola are ready to do their second readings. And once they do their second readings and we finish ours, Ferndale's protected for 20 years. They can't build any place in there more than 1 home per 5 acres. So we don't have to worry about apartments going in, and we don't have to worry about anything in Ferndale. So it's a tremendous advantage to Mount Verde to have this agreement in place, because we can't get attacked from the east. There's Lake Apaca, over here's Bella Colina. It's that way that we can get attacked from, and all that traffic would be coming through Mount Verde and all the problems and everything else. So I just wanted to clear that up as much as I could at this meeting tonight. So I'll open it up to the public. Anybody want to talk about the interlocal service boundary agreement?
May I read the ordinance?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Ordinance 2024-40, an ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, adopting an amendment to interlocal service boundary agreement, repealing ordinance 2023-36, and providing for an effective date.
Ready? Bring it back from the public. Go to the council. Need a motion?
Well, this is an excellent move. You and Sean Parks and a few others taking this bull by the horn. And so we really are concerned about the density around us. And this is our one opportunity now to limit it a little bit. I'll make a motion that we approve it.
1 second, the only change is the extension of the time?
Yep.
Okay. I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Ayes have it.
We do need to open it up to the public.
I do.
Okay, I thought you retracted that when I wanted to read it, so.
No, I left it
Okay.
hanging.
Okay.
But thank you. Thank you. All right, next one is, we need a major site plan approval. I don't know how many years back, 3 or 4 years back, that the county bought 3 acres from us to build a regional fire department. It's taken this long for them, they own the land, taken this long for them to put it all together and get it ready to go. So now they're builders ready to build. And there has to be a site plan approval for us. And that means that we more or less telling them that the building they want to put there is okay. You want to explain that any differently?
Sure, I'll need to read resolution first.
Go
if we
ahead.
could.
Resolution 2024-121, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, granting major site plan approval to Lake County, Florida for construction of an approximately 7,137 square foot fire station, number 85, located on County Road 455, Montverde, Florida, providing for conditions and providing for an effective date.
Alrighty, so go ahead and, can you hear me? Yeah, I don't know if they want to come inside and, yeah, you guys can come inside and stand inside on the sides. Come on in. Yeah, mine works really well, but they got to talk into theirs a lot.
Yeah, we'll definitely speak up, so.
Yeah. Can you hear me back there? Can you hear me?
Still a few seats here.
All right.
So Mayor and Council, this is a major, as the Mayor mentioned, this is a major site plan approval. So this lays out the location of their building, the driveways, the parking. It's been reviewed by the town attorney, the town planner, and the town engineer. There are a few items that we'll address at a staff level, just kind of a couple locations of the water lines and things along that line. And as mentioned past, that's kind of the look of what the fire department will look like going forward. And be glad to answer any questions, would recommend approval.
I'll open up to the public. Anybody want to talk about our new fire department?
Chief, I got a question if they don't. On your diagram, you're coming in, you're pulling in, and going through the station to get ready to pull out in an emergency. You're not backing up on 455.
No.
Hey, Sandy.
Your mic's not on. Can you turn that on and leave it on?
Yeah, you are absolutely right. For safety, it's what's known as a drive-through bay. So the apparatus doesn't have to back in, so it will come around to the back of the station, come into the bay, and await its next call for service.
Yeah, I'd hate to see a design like here, they have to back into the bay.
Correct.
And it's not an inconvenience, but on 455, I could really see it.
Well, I will tell you, driving through, there's far less accidents than the fire truck running into things with spotters and things like that. So it's safety mindful of a pull-through bay concept.
All righty.
Probably radio.
Thank you very much, Chief. Open it up to the public. Anybody want to talk about this again? I'll bring it back to council. Okay, I need okay, come on up, Bob.
I appreciate it. Bob Tomlinson, 16634 Magnolia Terrace. Question, how much property is there for this footprint itself?
For this,
Yes.
it was 3 acres we sold, correct?
Yeah, I think it was 2.65.
It's right under 3 acres.
Oh, and the total plot itself
It's
that's going to fall
9.
into is about how, 9 acres?
9 is,
acres?
because you go down the hill and then into
Right.
the wetlands. It's like, it's like 8.5 on top. They got 3 of them.
Okay, so there's 5 acres left on it, all right. And the wetlands, how much do you think the wetlands is?
I'm guessing, but to go down the hill and into the wetlands, 20.
20 acres, okay. And that's from St. John's River, that is classified as wetlands, can't do anything with it?
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah, it's heavy-duty
Okay,
wetlands.
just want to make sure. All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, the drop is 60, 70 foot from the top to the bottom. It's far. Alrighty, I bring council. Anybody okay? Need a motion?
Well, I'm looking forward to it, so I'll make the motion that we approve 2024-121.
We got a motion, need a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, against, say nay. Ayes have it. Alrighty, this, we do this every year. We set the ceiling for the millage rate. And, what we're proposing is the same exact millage rate we have for 15 years, I think now, 18 years. So, if you want to go ahead and read that, thank you.
Resolution number 2024-122, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Lake County, Florida, adopting a not-to-exceed millage rate of 2.8300, levying of ad valorem taxes for fiscal year 2024 through 2025, and setting the date, time, and place of the public hearings on the budget for fiscal year 2024-2025, providing for an effective date. The fiscal year 2024-2025 operating proposed millage rate of 2.8300 mils is a 15.22% increase to the current year rolled back rate of 2.4561 mils.
Alrighty, we'll open it up to public. Before I do, this is the same millage rate we've had for many, many years. The town is managed with the revenue that we get from this millage rate, and the council and our town manager do a good job at it. And the people before us did a good job at it, a very good job, and banked a lot of money, and we're still doing that also. So I'll open it up to the public. Anybody want to talk about the millage rate? Oh, and by the way, it is the lowest millage rate in Florida. Just so you know, I must say that. Anybody want to talk about it? Okay, I'll bring it back to the council. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion the resolution number 2024-124 be approved.
It's 122.
122 be approved.
Motion need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Ayes have it. All right, if you would please, 2024-124.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, granting major site plan approval to Montverde Academy for expansion of the athletic facility referred to as the Nest, addition located internal to the campus, providing for conditions and providing for an effective date.
Alrighty, this is Mount Verde Academy wanting to add to their building. And do you want to speak on it, Brad? No? Okay. Everybody has the diagram here. There it is right there. It's just them adding some more space to use on their big auditorium where they play basketball. I'll open it up to the public. Does anybody have anything you want to add to that? The diagram on the right, well, if it's my right, is what they're doing. Everything else is already there. All right, bring it back to council. Any discussion?
I have a question. Brad, all right, so this is, how wide is this building on the backside? I mean, how close do you get to the edge that you gotta put more fill dirt in? That's my point.
Brad Long, 1720 19th Street. So your question is, how big is the back from north to south? I couldn't even tell you what that dimension is on that building without looking at the plans.
But you don't anticipate being that close where you gotta put more fill dirt in?
So you're talking about the east side going farther to east. Because north to south is a flat land. If you go farther east, which is to the right side of the plans, that's when it goes down to the,
I flipped around, then you're going to the parking lot pool area.
no, so the pool, so this drawing on the right side of your plans.
Come over
actually
here
is
and look
going
at it
east.
from
It's
this
the same
side.
plan on this side.
Yeah, but it's reversed, I think. Isn't it? Okay.
So this is all east side.
Right.
So this east side is actually towards the wetlands. This is not
Oh,
towards
I
the
see.
actual Seventh Street.
Okay,
So this won't be seen at all from the road.
that's it.
Alrighty. Any more discussion from council?
What's the purpose? Is this basketball nets we're seeing here?
No, it's an expansion of our weight room and our trainer's room. So
Okay.
it's really just taking more facilities just for us of the current students we have.
Okay.
Any more discussion? Alrighty, need a motion?
I so move resolution 2024-124 be approved.
Need a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against say nay. Ayes have it. Then we'll move on to our last one, if you would please, Anita.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, granting minor site plan approval to Montverde Academy for construction of an improved access roadway from Porter Avenue to a parking lot located internal to the campus, as well as parking improvements on Porter Avenue, providing for conditions and providing for an effective date.
Alrighty, go ahead and, you want to explain this, Paul?
Sure. This is two items. As you recall, about 4 or 5 months ago, the academy came and we had a workshop, and they would like to build a private drive on the backside that would connect to Porter Avenue with the purpose of getting a staging area to pull more vehicles off of 455 to help with the traffic issues. In addition, the original site plan that was approved by the town for the library, we were planning on building some parking spaces. The academies agreed to help build some of those parking spaces because it would be a mutual benefit to the town. We would have some type of restrictions we work out, so it's not an 8 or 10 hour parking, but more of a 4 hour, because they do have a need when they have special events such as the theatrical performances. We have discussed, as we discussed at the council, we'll come back with some street impact fee credits at a future meeting for the construction of this.
Alrighty. So it's a road this is coming down the hill, and then you make a right, and they're gonna get a lot more cars off 455 by doing this.
Correct.
And it's a big effort on their part to help us. Open it up to the public. Okay, bring it back. So they need us to approve this, road,
Well, I have
private
a couple
road.
quick questions for Brad. I don't want to pick on Brad tonight. Your traffic flow is circular, clockwise,
So this one would be there would be
clockwise.
counterclockwise.
Okay,
Counterclockwise.
and counterclockwise.
No, they'd be counterclockwise. It's going pretty much 6 o'clock to 12, going south to north.
The reason I bring it up is are you gonna be bringing traffic out on the Porter at the stop sign?
Yep. So we're doing, bringing Porter, parking out, streets out, down to the corner of Porter and 7th, and they'll be manned by one of our ICU, our security staffs. But there's traffic currently now, which is actually not manned at this time. And this would be something that's gonna be really, this traffic is mostly our lower school, which is after 8 o'clock.
Where is your pickup gonna be at?
The same
Well-
location, so that corner where the new area is,
Yeah.
in the middle of the plans, that general area right there is gonna be the drop-off and pick-off area. So everything will be in the parking lot, our queue line and our drop-off and pick-up.
So sometimes in the day, in the morning, it's gonna be, northbound, this little road, or southbound?
It'll be going northbound.
Okay.
And so for clarity, they will enter through the parking lot off of 455, go through the back drive, then come out on Porter, then go back up Porter to 455.
And that's in the morning.
Correct. In the afternoon as well. In the afternoon as well, both times.
But it's not quite as early in the morning because
This
it's
will
with
be
the
on
lower
the
grades.
lakeside.
Yeah,
Huh?
because it's with the younger kids, the lower grades, so it's like you said, the bulk of that'll be after 8 o'clock. And the pickup for
You
those
guys,
guys is.
can you speak in your microphones? They're yelling at me back
No
there.
private meetings?
Sorry.
No.
And the pickup for the early kids,
So they're earlier than our upper school and middle school kids, so the intention is to get these cars loaded and out faster, so they're out of here before the group gets in for the middle school and upper school kids. Like a 10,
and the
15
bulk
minutes
of
later.
that happens after 8 o'clock and before
2:50,
3.
2:53 o'clock.
Alrighty, open it up to the public again. Anybody want to talk about this? Okay, bring it back to council. Do we want to move forward on this? Need a motion.
I'll make the motion that we adopt resolution 2024-125 as stated.
I need a second.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Okay, ayes have it. All right, now let's move on to the subject we put on the agenda for tonight, to talk about the septic or sewer plant. And I had asked Paul to put together some things so we could talk about it a little smoother. And so I'm going to ask him to go ahead and walk through what he has, and then we'll pick people to come up and talk. Is that ready?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, everybody, for coming out. So I just wanted to spend a couple minutes and just kind of recap where we're at with the process and some site planning, so you can kind of see what things are starting to look like as the site plan starts to develop. So currently, as we've been working through the process, as we received our DEP funds, we've had to commit the project to the Basin Management Action Plan as a water cleaning effort on behalf of the town. As of actually yesterday, we submitted our OSTDS remediation wastewater plan, which did a full inventory of all the septics in town. That was required under the Clean Waterway Act, part of what the state's implementing. As everybody knows, we've done a survey of the whole town. Everybody's seen the ribbons in town, so it's about 98% complete. They are still going through and doing a few more spot checking and things along that line. The RFP has gone out. It's been out for about a week. We've a little over a week. We've had a very good response from a lot of respondents. I want to say there was about 15 on our phone call, and so that's for the wastewater treatment plan. We're currently in the process of taking that surveying and creating a phasing plan for the collection force main, so from the lift stations getting to the wastewater treatment plant, and also working on I'm going to start working on the engineering of the collection system of how things are going to flow to those lift stations. As you're aware, we've been discussing this almost every single month at a council meeting. There's been some type of update or report on the sewer plant, and those were all the dates. So literally every month for the last year, there's been some type of discussion on the wastewater treatment plant. So I just kind of wanted to remind you that's been an ongoing process really for the last 2 years as we've gone through this. Some of the challenges that we've been really having around town as we've evaluated different criteria for site is really the wetlands and low-lying areas, the size of the land needed for a full build-out. The topography of the sites is something that's really come into focus with the wetlands and where the groundwater is associated to those wetlands, and meeting the DEP setbacks requirements for whether it be wetlands or wells or landowners, stuff that, as you know, we've talked about at past meetings. So just briefly looking at the site requirements, you know, having the land size that's adequate to handle the ribs, the rapid infiltration basins, distance from wetlands, the water table and geography, and the DEP requirements for water quality all kind of played in effect as we kind of honed in on the site. And as I know everybody's here, the site that we're looking at Ridgewood. As we developed the site and looked at the site, it's approximately a 9-acre site. And as I asked, as we honed in on this as being really one of the best locations that we can find that actually works for the system, I asked the engineers really to develop a plan that keeps the wastewater treatment plant the furthest away from any of the homes as we go forward. And this is the wastewater treatment plan that's kind of been developed for the site, the preliminary plan. And that'll come more in focus as we go through the process and we see the kind of the bids come in for the wastewater treatment plant. So where the wastewater treatment plant is, or where the wastewater treatment plant will be, as we develop that site, is literally a football field across from any house. And we purposely did that to put us at the furthest location. You know, as you know, looking across a football field, it's a pretty good site size. The plants that we are going to be receiving bids on are package plants, similar to what you see up on the screen. So they're kind of either prefabricated or semi-prefabricated, brought into the site and finished at the site, and look similar to what you would see there. And those are just typicals. You know, I don't know what the final product would be, just kind of see what the bids come in, but that would be similar to what you see. Going back to the site plan, we have the wastewater treatment area, as I mentioned, is the furthest away, about a football field from any residential property. So I want to talk about the rapid infiltration basins. That's a tongue twister. The ribs and kind of what those process. So those are basically, that's where the clean water, the effluent, is going to go, and they are buried underground. And this is what a rib basin will look like, what those rib basins will look like when they're done. So the water is kind of similar to, I guess, as you have an effluent come out of a septic, just a whole lot different and bigger. And they rotate between those so they don't create any flooding or mounding issues, things along that line. And they'll be have to be kept up, so it's sand that never fills up with water. It always is dry on top as those are underground. And as we've looked at the site and as we talked to the council, part of the package in the final bid is making sure that whatever we do here is going to be heavy landscaped and buffered, which there was a buffer on the site plan. And we are going to try to leave as many trees and bushes that are on the current site as we can. Then where those have to be removed, then we're going to come back and replant those with landscaping. So this is a very similar technology and a similar setup with the buffers. Basically, the closest one I could find is that operates a similar plant is Bella Clina. And so that's kind of a picture. Bella Clina has one that sits right next to the properties and operates there in the middle of the properties because it's a smaller footprint plant. It's a package plant, so minimally invasive compared to what you would see like when you go through Claremont. You see obviously these big, large, open water pits of sewage going around and what's called oxidation ditches. That's not the type of plant we're building. Ours is going to be very similar to what you would see at Bella Clina, which is those plants I showed you earlier. So that was just, I wanted to just kind of throw a real brief summary because I know everybody's here to kind of talk about the site and talk about that, but I just want to give everybody this is where it's kind of at and looking at before everybody kind of come up. And I'll be glad before, Mayor, you open it up if any of the council have any questions.
Could you get in a little more detail as to why the Stetcher property could not be used?
Yeah.
As the council knows, we're going to try and purchase the property through a contract and negotiation. However, if that is not successful, then it will proceed to litigation and eminent domain. So there are limitations on what we can speak about relating to particular sites.
The limitations on the Stetcher property. why
Right,
it couldn't be
and
used.
that's fine for him to answer. I'm just saying, when we talk about sites, this was the site determined by the engineers to be most appropriate, meeting all the criteria Paul just discussed. So I just want to make sure that we may not be able to answer all questions tonight, but we'll do the best we can.
Anita, Paul,
Let me real quick answer.
it's going to be the
that's-
same question, Paul.
Okay, sure.
I just want to make sure that Paul can answer the history and why we're at this point right now, that's all.
Most definitely. So our original plan was definitely to look at the Stetcher property, and when we started getting into it and talking with DEP what the requirements would be, the site that we had is, one, simply wasn't large enough, but more importantly, because of the topography of the land, it dropped off on the back and backed into a wetland. Those rapid infiltration basins that you saw, the water would basically come out of the side of the hill or enter into the wetland, and it just wasn't going to get permanent with DEP.
I know one of the questions was, is this going to hurt our drinking water, being close to the water? So if you could answer that.
Sure, be glad to. So there's a little line on the top where it says Stormwater Basic Management Action Area. So let me, real quick, I'll explain. The stormwater is just what we have to put in for St. John's because we're creating some impervious surface. And so that's just what you would have a normal stormwater pond that you'd have anywhere. And DEP and EPA set the minimum distance that you need to be from a drinking water well, and we exceed that distance that's required. And that's kind of reflected up at the very top of the site plan. So we've evaluated it. We've looked at that. It meets the minimum distance. In addition, the water quality, obviously coming out of a highly efficient treatment plant, is going to be far superior than what's currently coming out of the couple hundred septics all around our well-filled area.
Okay, well, we're going to allow questions in a minute. Okay. Anybody want to talk about it? Let them.
Well, yeah, was there a financial consideration from switching from Stetcher to the property we have now? I mean, was it going to be more expensive over there because of the location and piping?
Yeah, the vice attorney, I really can't get into too much because where we're at on that particular subject.
Sure.
So I apologize.
Okay, so if you want to talk, raise your hand. I'll point at you. Come on up, and then you got to state your name and all that.
I'm Dr. Mark Bush. I live at 16418 Magnolia Bluff. I have 3 comments that I'd like to make. One is on the health and safety of this new location. There was an NHI study done, listed. It was a 2016 study. It said that people living within 500 meters, which is about 0.3 miles or 500 yards, so you put 1 football field up, you need to add 4 more to that. It cites significant risk of headaches, unusual tiredness, respiratory issues, and skin disease when you're located that close to a water treatment facility. Knowing this, as a township, are you insured to cover any of the costs for those who become ill because of the location of this? The second is the impact on noise, odor, and ambient light from this facility. It says that hot and humid days cause excessive smell. Well, we live in Florida, so hot and humid is what we have. So I have a significant concern with that. You have over 50, I counted over 50 to 60 homes that are within that 500 yards of that water treatment plant, which is one of the largest densities that you have in the township. There's other locations that are available. I'm sure that would work. You mentioned something about the wetlands and running into the wetlands. If you have 20 acres, I think you have plenty of space compared to what you're buying here. And then the property value potential decline for all of the homeowners in that area is also a concern that I have.
All right, thank you. Anybody else want to talk? Come on up, look.
My My name's Randy Ellman. I live in 16603 Lowry Road. I've lived there 39 years too, so I'm a resident here for a long time. Is this the first time we've done this presentation that you just presented to the public?
I think you showed them the schedule we had. I know we talked about
I'm talking about mainly the new location.
no, we've had at least 3 meetings on it when you look at the,
Okay.
if you go back to the minutes and you read the
I
minutes.
found out about it ironically Saturday, and was totally shocked by, their new location. And so then I called you, and then suddenly now we have this meeting. I told you I wanted to speak to y'all, and now we got all this big fancy presentation that nobody knew about, Well, yeah, but the point is that I think we were kept in the dark on this, especially the residents up there.
Well,
That's a fact. It's not in the newsletter.
Everything we do is public, and we've been talking about this for a couple of years. And I'm sorry, people, we do this stuff at the public.
Okay.
If people don't want to pay attention, we can't force them.
I think everybody that lives up there would want to know that you're proposing to put the plan up there. No communication. So I think I have the agreement on that.
all right,
Okay.
if you want to talk, it's okay, just got to come up here, not yelling. Let him finish.
So when was the decision made to start pursuing the Hunt property?
I don't remember the exact date. Do you guys remember the exact date? Around about.
Is the attorney here
Count-
tonight?
The
She's-
council approved,
Anita.
I believe the council approved acquiring it in June, but
Okay.
previous discussions had been held.
Okay.
Okay, so formally, they approved it at a public hearing to pursue the Hunt property, and at that time, it was on the agenda okay? So
Yeah.
pretty recently.
But if you look at this agenda tonight, it's not on the agenda tonight.
Yeah, I
It
know.
was on the agenda in June.
It's on the agenda because I think I
It's
started.
not on the agenda. It's an
people that are
open
concerned.
discussion. You're
Okay.
welcome to talk.
Okay, let me go to the next thing here. You can give us all the engineers and all like that. This stigma of you putting the sewer plant next to the Warner Tower will stick with this town for after we're dead and gone. It will stick. It will be a stigma on this town, and it will be a scar that won't go away. You don't bury your dead at the river, and you don't put your sewer plant at the Warner Tower. I mean, and property values, property values, come on. Joe, you're a realtor. You know that it's going to affect our property values. There's no question on that. You can't defend that one. It's going to affect our property values. I researched some of this, about in realtor, and they said if you have a problem, your buyer will have a problem. If you have a problem with the sewer going that close to our homes, just a second. Let me look at my notes here, and
Sure.
I'll sit down and give someone
No,
else.
take your time, no rush.
Grant money. Does that grant money come with strings attached? Is that why we're building it up there, or is there any?
You mean
know,
worry about it?
I guess, does the grant money come with certain strings attached?
Certain requirements.
They all do.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Does it anything affect where we put the sewer plant with the grant money?
No, I don't think so. Mm-mm.
And who's been writing the proposed grant stuff?
That's his job.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is he compensated beyond his salary for that? Okay, so it's part of his salary? I mean.
No, it was one of the bigger reasons we did a city
Okay,
manager
well,
government.
praise-
Yeah.
All the better,
Yeah.
but we're not hiring outside grant writers
No.
and
No,
paying.
but we are hiring outside engineers.
Mhm.
All this is engineered.
Mhm.
This is well beyond my ability to get up and read from something that's saying that
Well, I think the people,
2016. I'm saying it is done with the engineering well aware that there's a water tower there.
I've
and
worked
that
with
we have
engineers
wells.
for 40 years, so, you know, it's just
Okay.
that, you know, engineers are engineers. But, you know, obviously, the engineer you're working with is what, is it on that bid proposal, the project
Yeah, I think so.
manager? It's the firm in Winter Garden, or?
Woodward and Kern.
Yeah, yeah. So they're the ones that came to the council and said, this is the best place to put it, and there's no other place to consider?
No.
Anita, how much can I talk about it?
The site was evaluated, other sites were evaluated. This was the determination, and that's really all we can get into on that
That was my
topic.
first choice.
It
And
definitely
you
wasn't our
can't-
first choice.
You can't talk tonight about the negotiations or the eminent domain and all like that. And so we trust you that you're operating on top, you know, above board and in the sunlight or in the sunshine. I'm not accusing you of anything,
The town has hired eminent domain counsel to represent them. And
because
he's-
obviously Mr. Hunt, he's an attorney, his son, and he obviously does not want to accept the offer you've offered them, the town's offered them?
An offer has not been made.
Oh, okay. So you're proceeding with eminent domain without even negotiating with them?
Part of that process includes making an offer, and one will be forthcoming, but there is a process, and the eminent domain attorney is following the process.
I'll leave it to other people. Just remember, folks, you know, that stigma of putting the sewer next to the water tower, it's not gonna go away. And, you know, you can
No.
laugh about it.
I'm not laughing about it. I don't agree with it.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
so people make statements and they say, well, why is the truth? The question is, if you have environmental people don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, but think about this. Think about this. They have a problem. They have a problem. They have a problem pumping the effluent into the wetlands, but they don't have a you know, I don't.
That's my choice.
Yeah, that was what everybody was working on, that it's going there, it's going to work out, it's up there, away from most of the town, everybody's happy. So, I don't think people are too happy about this.
Alrighty, anybody else? Come on up.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Rubio. I live in 16548 Magnolia Terrace. I've been a resident since 2014. I want to thank all the council members, staff, and legal counsel. Obviously, you know, this is a tough topic. As some of the previous comments, I'm going to run down a list of implications. I will also follow up with an email with cited sources, both domestic and foreign case studies. And so, you know, I'll basically just shorten it now. Some of the implications that, you know, have been considered, I assume, and I hope they were, obviously airborne contaminants, obviously, you know, that's one of the major ones. There could be a potential contamination at a future date if there's a breach of, obviously, the plant, you know, or the sand, you know, so from that aspect, it could happen in the future. Obviously, in order to treat wastewater, you have to use chemicals, I assume. You know, at the basic, you know, level, you're using chemicals which are harmful for the environment to clean water to then put back in the environment. So, you know, obviously that's an implication in itself. Noise pollution, obviously you guys addressed that in the slides. Let's see. Obviously, air quality goes in hand with the air pollution. Let's see. Now, I do want to bring up a little bit further details on the property values. Property values will be drastically affected by this. I am a real estate broker. I've been in the business 11 years. I've seen a thing or two. Prime example here. I've seen where new construction builders place lift stations at somewhere in the community in the back. They have an extremely hard time selling the lots directly to the left, right, and in front of those lift stations, let alone an entire waste plant. The rental market. There are some homes that are for rent. That's going to impact that too. Now, there's something that hasn't been spoken. There's a psychological impact on, the residents that are going to live nearby because of this. Obviously, they're going to worry more because of the risk that the waste plant could bring. Here's something else that you guys have to consider. There is legal challenges. You guys, the city moves forward with this waste plant, I assure you, you're going to get at least one lawsuit. Let alone, let's say, a class action lawsuit. Now, in your financial projections, I'm sure you did not account for that. And that's going to eat up the town's budget, in defending those lawsuits. And it could be a lengthy. I'm sure legal counsel could, attest to, how lengthy it could get with things like that. And I guess my last point would be the erosion of public trust. Obviously, there's a lot of residents here that are going to be impacted by this, and obviously, some of us feel that there's no transparency. I went on the website. There's a tab dedicated to the sewage plant, and you click on it, and it says no documents. So, take transparency into consideration. But that's all I have. And I will follow up with an email with a report with all the citation, case studies, and all that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Come on up.
J.M. Allegri, 17727 Sugar Pine. Just to add to that, with the transparency, the Zoom link is very hard to find for this. So just want to let you know that that's going to definitely be affecting your transparency. My points are going to be short and simple, I think, and I want to start with, I have a great respect for engineers. I work in software engineer for over 25 years, so I know that the similar mindset that goes into engineering structures, but just keeping in mind that people, though even the best experts are fallible, and that your engineers engineered the road that leaks every time it rains over in Blackstill Lake, and that's just regular water, fresh water from the sky, and engineers built the Titanic. So you guys can plan all you want. You can give us all the information, and it's going to work out perfectly in a bubble, in a vacuum, just like every piece of code I've ever written. But when it meets the real world, that's when, well, you can fill in your tongue-in-cheek analogy here, but this is a wastewater facility. So insert that one on your own.
Anybody else? Here you go. Come on.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Robbie Shivdat, 16841 Ridgewood Avenue. I'm a relatively new resident to the area, 35 years, Winter Garden, moving here within last September. Wanting to move here, my son goes to the academy down the road. We were looking towards our retirement. This was a nice property to get, with some potential for growth, right? We're looking for what's going to be down the road for us. The idea of coming here now and having to talk about a water treatment plant just up the road from my house is sickening to me. The fact that all these people here are being impacted by this is significant, right? This is a big deal for us. I don't understand why it's not being discussed, the perception of that this is going to happen. I think the doctor here, or maybe Randy mentioned it, that we had great media not too long ago, right? The news was here and everyone's talking great things about Montverde. When the media gets wind of this, and it will get wind of this, the perception of this town will completely change. What's going to happen when our academy, parents who spend thousands and thousands of dollars to send their kids here, both locally and from abroad, hear that there's a stinky water treatment plant up the way, when the wind blows down towards the fields, it's going to be an embarrassment because they have friends that send their kids to school at IMG, right? This is not a good look, is what I'm trying to say. If there's another option, we should seriously consider this. I mean, this is important for me on a very personal level and for everyone here. And I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I just think that I admire all the work you guys do. It's hard. You're volunteers. But consider that this is going to impact us at a very personal level. And just maybe this is it even required? Do we have this water treatment plant?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. The state of Florida last year mandated all municipalities within 20 years shall have septic tank free. That was your governor, bipartisan legislature, Republican and Democrat voted for that, and it was given to us as, hey, this is what you got, suck it up, Buttercup, fix it. So in a sense, we are sitting here, what are we going to do? We can kick the can down the road and do nothing, and then year 19, we got a problem.
No, I appreciate
But,
that.
you know,
If
you-
it's something
you-
that's
you-
dictated on us, yes, we have to deal with it.
You mentioned the academy.
Yes, sir.
They have a water treatment plant. 1972. Ours is going to be state of the art. Did you know that? You don't know that? Okay. You never noticed it? That's what happens. You don't notice these things.
Well, I tell you, I
Because
don't know if you guys have ever
if they're
been
done well,
in Ocoee near the
you'll notice
recreation center. You notice it because we've done business with Ocoee for many, many years.
what
And
is the
during
year of
summer-
it? What year was it made?
I'm just telling you from what my experience is.
And I'm just saying technology and science has moved on when it comes to treatment plants.
Mr. Lay, do you live near this new
No,
facility?
but one of the places I liked was close to my house. Didn't bother me any. The deal didn't come through. Got to have enough land.
Understood. Well,
All right.
I just want to say my piece.
Let's
I
go ahead
appreciate
and
it.
move on.
Thank
then.
you.
Thank you very much. Who else? Come on up.
Come on up.
Kira Program, 16443 Magnolia Bluff Drive. I will see it. It's outside of my kitchen window. So this is a big deal for me. It's a big deal to think about property value for me because it's literally outside of my back window. My HOA says that I can't have a certain fence or I can't plant trees, but there's going to be a water treatment plant in my backyard, which is a big deal for me. I do want to talk about the transparency. The website has no information. This was said before, but I just want to reiterate that underneath the sewer project tab, there is no information. I went through all of the minutes that I could see, and I couldn't see where you guys have had any discussion about this property. So maybe I missed it, but I went through every single one and downloaded where the eminent domain was talked about, and you guys approved being able to take property that way. But I don't see where you've discussed this specific property. I also haven't seen any public notice that was put out to discuss this. Is that required, and when is it required for you to bring that to the public?
I'll let our attorney answer that.
All public meetings have to be noticed, so they're published on the website as well as posted at the town hall board. And then any ordinances or certain types of resolutions have a different requirement, and so those would have been met as well.
So when you decided to explore this property, was it necessary to involve the public in that, other than just talking about it during a meeting?
Council had to approve the taking of the property, and it was this particular piece of property.
So you have to excuse me because I'm not familiar with this stuff, but I do see that there's oftentimes a posted sign somewhere that says there's a discussion happening about something, come to the meeting. When is it necessary for that to happen?
If the city code requires it or the town code requires it, then those notices are posted.
Sorry, I'm going through my notes. I've talked about a lot of this so far. This has been asked. I'm going to ask it again. What other properties are being considered? How many options were available? You mentioned you can't discuss it for legal reasons, but financially, this is going to hit me. So it is an issue for me to speak about.
Other properties were considered and evaluated, and this was determined to be the site that, for the sewer plant, it met all the criteria.
And there's no other sites available for that in our town.
That has been determined that this is the only site.
So, and one more thing. So with that being said, you just discussed that within 20 years we have to have a sewer system. What would it take to slow this down right now? Why can't we stop what we're doing to evaluate other areas or buy property or decide if this is something that we want to do? Because right now I don't want to vote for anything. I don't want you guys to continue moving forward with this in my backyard.
Well, why don't I'll have everybody talk and then open it up to discussion to council so they can talk about. And we'll make that one of the things we talk about.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for
I
coming.
do appreciate you guys, but this is a big concern for me, so thank you.
Thank you.
We'd like to see you more often.
Come every month.
Come every
We
month.
give you a free meal. Come every month.
Gentlemen, come on up.
Well, this is not my first time at the meeting. So you see me from time to time. Or you don't see me, you see my wife or my neighbor. And the lady who just sat down was my neighbor. Now, I have a 95-year-old mother-in-law. And she's in pretty good shape, but she still have health issues. And that's one of my major concerns, is the health issues. And I like for my water to be pure. I have a well. I don't want to take a chance at that. You know, I know you guys got a hard job. I don't want it. Would take it in a million years. Although I've been trying to be the coach for me to join the board, but thank you, no. My, you know, I'm a naturalist. There's this beautiful crane that's always working in my yard with the red tip. That red-headed crane, he's better covered than I am. You let something happen to that bird, I'll get more time. We'll get more time hurting that bird than we will in you. So that's something to think about. A bird is better covered than we are. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Come on up.
Evening, guys. Wayne Meadows, 16401 Magnolia Bluff Drive. Just a number of concerns that came up when this was all first coming. I sat down with Scott Shannon back in February of 23 in that first open discussion about the waste treatment plant. From my notes here, I said, where's it going to be located? The only thing that was mentioned was 455 Fosgate. I said, great, sounds good. Property was owned by the city already. Let it roll, sounds good. None of the discussions that I've ever had came up with any alternative sites. That always seemed to be the one. And like some of the others have mentioned, just found out about it this weekend. Don't know if we missed it or what, don't know. But just the concept of it going in a relatively high density area, not that we have high density in Montverde totally, but where you have virtually most houses that are built and to put a plant right there just doesn't seem to make sense. My biggest concern, and I know it says within the regs, but having a Rivy right next to our water wells, come on, that just doesn't make sense logically. It's just perception of it. It may be within guidelines, that's true. The EPA's been known to screw up every now and then as well. And I've worked with some of the Rivies out at Disney as well, and I mean, they are far away from a public water that you can get. And we're putting them right next to our water supply? Come on. It doesn't add up. And certainly we'd like to see documents on it and their studies that showed that it would be safe, because granted, we don't have a lot of heavy manufacturing here. We don't have heavy metals and all that. That's good. I'm pleased with that. But just the pure mention of having waste effluent going down into our aquifer, and we're pumping it right back up into our water tank. Does that make sense? Appreciate your consideration on it.
Thank you. This gentleman's been waiting, Bob. Let me get him. Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Up to you, up to you.
Thank you for what you guys do. We know it's not easy, but sometimes we get it wrong. So I'm really hoping that that's what's happened here, all right? And I hope it's not someone that doesn't want to do their job or continue to do their job or battle for us. That's your job, to battle for us. It really is. So does anybody else here know, who else knew that this was happening? So all of us are not connected, but many of us are, which means it was hidden. It was not posted the way it should have been done, the way this country would have wanted it done, because we're all in shock. We're in shock. And we're not dumb people.
Can I make a quick comment? You're addressing the council, not the audience, and you're
That's
not.
fine.
And
Thank
you,
you.
please.
You've corrected me. You've corrected me.
Protocol.
They have to correct
Address the
me.
council.
No worries. It's okay. So, a couple of questions, all right?
I'm glad it's okay.
Wonderful. You have a problem with me, I guess, don't you?
No, I address the council with your concerns.
Okay. So one of the concerns that I have is, has there been an environmental study done about the Florida grasshopper sparrow that lives on that property? Has anybody done a study on that?
Nope.
It's an endangered species, Florida. You can't touch that property if there's one living there, and there's families living there. There's another bird that lives there too that you may not be aware of. Hold on, Florida scrub jay. That's another endangered species that lives there. So you guys need to find another location. Leave our lake, Florence, where children swim and canoe. Leave our water tower alone, and leave our beautiful gem of Montverde alone, and find another location, please. I know you want to.
Come on up, Bob.
All right, Bob.
Bob Tomlinson, 16634 Magnolia Terrace, Montverde, Florida. It's, first of all, appreciate all the work that you all do. You know, I always have been a councilman myself, so it's not an easy job. But this one's really, really strange. All right. First of all, when it all started out, the whole thing was that the council and Paul, this is going to be literally a transparent situation. We're going to let everybody involved in every meeting, everything. We're going to make sure that everybody has, all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted. We know what's going to happen with this. Was that not what we were told, the citizens? Were we all told this? Yeah. Okay. And you all know we were. Okay. So, well, I got to ask you this. When was in June, it was before June that the meeting came up for this to be purchased or acquired? Am I correct on that, Anita?
My recollection is it was in June.
Okay, in June. All right, so that particular meeting in June was advertised. Where was it advertised in and how? And what meeting?
It's advertised.
But what meeting was it? It wasn't a council meeting.
It was a public meeting. It was a council meeting, special
Okay,
council
I'm sorry,
meeting.
it wasn't a city council meeting that's normally on the 7th?
No, it was a special town council meeting.
Special town council meeting, okay. How many citizens were at that particular meeting? 2? 1? None?
This is a special council meeting, right?
I understand that.
This is irrelevant.
But, no.
Yes, it is.
No, listen to me now.
Yes, it is.
Listen to me, all
We're
right?
glad to see
The
you
reason
come.
I'm bringing this up,
I know why you're bringing it up, Bob.
you know exactly why I'm bringing it up.
Sure.
Because the reason I'm bringing it up is because we have never seen this amount of people in a special council meeting ever in the history of this town.
Usually
All
it's
right,
5 or 6.
Well, wait now,
that's
wait
one
now,
thing I wanna
let
bring
me
up.
correct you, because when we're going to annex in Willow Ridge, there's twice as many people here.
I don't remember twice as
I have
but-
pictures.
But anyhow, but there's a lot. There's a lot here. All right. So the other thing that I wanted to bring out was, so there was only really 2 meetings then, or 1 meeting of acquiring this property.
I don't know.
Let's say it
Go
was
ahead.
June, it was probably 1. We saw a litany of a whole year, but we only have 1 meeting that this came up on. And obviously, it wasn't in our water bill. And we always get everything that's important about this town is in our water bill. Why was it not in the water bill? There's a lack of communication here. It does look like it's been put under the rug. It looks that way. You guys even know it looks that way. So.
Well, you're all right on that point, Bob. I went back and read my water bills
Okay,
looking
now-
for it
Now,
today, and I didn't see it. You are right.
I know. The other thing I want to bring out is this. This one is really important because I don't think that you all really have the scope of this. I personally, 1 hour ago, went on Bella Clina's property, went out and saw that water treatment plant 1 hour ago, oh, maybe an hour and a half ago. Do you know how tall that plant is? Anybody? And that basically is going to be the same size unit place to handle 1,500 homes.
Well,
Guess how tall it was?
That one was built in 2004.
I understand. But we're
2004.
talking 1,600 homes. That's all of Bella Colina build out, the entire build out. Do you know how large that particular property is, where it is? Over 30 acres. We're dealing with what? 10 acres, if that, 9? Okay. And backing right up to homes, there are no homes around that wastewater plant. By the way, that plant is over 20 feet tall. 20 feet, and it does have odor. And it's supposed to be one that some of the builders that you're looking at or construction people are looking at did that one as well. So I'm bringing that up. Guys, all I can say is this. You have to literally, on the eminent domain, you must turn it down. Turn it down. You got it. Not going to be good for the town.
Okay, anybody else? Come on up.
Steve Smith, 1631 Florence Oak Court. I lived here for 20 years, and I was on the zoning board, and it's incredibly hard to even comprehend that our property values will just drop. This is my retirement home. You're just taking it away, like, don't even think about us. I mean, it's just like, and then on top of that, isn't part of this septic system all to do with this property over here, Osborne? They can't, why don't you build, get some indemnity property from them? Because they can't build no houses over there because they can't put in septic tanks. You know that. I know that. And don't tell me you're not thinking that. Because that property over there, you just approved it in the overall land development just last month. So what's going on here? What's the true hidden value here? Is it hiding something? Like, transparent, tell us.
I'm not sure what you're asking us about the Osgood
Well,
property.
the Osborne property,
What about it?
they cannot build a house over there because they can't put septic tanks in. It's already been proven. I was on the zoning board. I went through that.
They were, if I remember correctly, and it's been a few years, they were going to do their own packaging plant.
Okay,
over there.
so where's eminent domain to take some of their property to build it over there? Why in the middle of ours, taking our property values, and there's nothing over there yet? I mean, why? Just ask, just why would you even consider that? I can't comprehend it. That's all.
Thank you.
I'm Lanny Evans, 16355 Florence Oak Court. Are there going to be, are there minutes of that meeting in June that show this on the agenda and then meetings of it? Because I've not been able to find them.
They should be online, right? The minutes. Well, let me look into that.
Yeah, and you can always email the town clerk and she can send you the minutes of the meetings.
Well, are they not posted on the website?
They usually are.
Yeah, I'll have to look. Part of the issue is the website's in the process of switching to a new website, so there's been some issues.
I, like so many others until yesterday, thought the stretcher property was signed, sealed, and almost delivered for this. With regard to seizing the property through eminent domain, will the public ever know what is paid for it?
Anita, can you?
Yes, it'll be public.
Nobody
Yeah.
knows where we spend our money.
Everybody, yeah, the money's,
Everybody knows where we spend our money.
it's public money.
And then with regard to the wetlands property, wetlands problem with the stretcher property, is Lake Florence not considered a wetland?
I think it's considered a lake.
That's what I would think.
Yeah.
Is this not going to pollute the lake? And Councilman Peacock, you've been working on that lake, keeping it pristine, well, trying to get it pristine, since I've been here, and I've been here since 2005. How do you feel about this?
I believe the plant will be about a half a mile from the lake, and everything they've told us, there's not a consideration as far as not damaging the lake.
Okay, but in between the plant and the lake is our well water source.
That's true.
So basically you're saying outside of the 10 acres that this is going to occupy, everything's good. We know that. We can bank on it.
We knew that some of the questions were going to be like engineer questions, but unfortunately, we tried to get him to come here. We didn't get it. He couldn't come tonight, but.
Well, this wasn't on the agenda tonight.
No, this wasn't. I let it come on the agenda. I told what's his name, Larry, to come and talk to the council, and of course, he invited everybody, which is fine. But we couldn't get people that could explain certain things. I was disappointed, but that's where we're at.
And I think it's the Bella Colina property that's still to be developed on Ridgewood. Do those folks know about this? Because now seriously, think about this. That particular spot has to be the most densely housed area in Montverde. I mean, the Pines, right? You're in the Pines? Somebody is in the Pines, but the Pines, there's a good number of homes over there. 47. Well, what do we have? 300 plus another 50 at least that's going to go in. You can't find a more densely housed neighborhood in Montverde, and you're going to slap it down, slap dab in the middle.
Hi, my name's Dr. Kelly Moore. I live at 17029 Florence View Drive. I noticed the drill's going in this week. It's directly behind my home. I've lived in Magnolia Terrace since 2015, and I lived in this area of town since 2005. I'm appalled the way that this has gone on. From my understanding, this was shifted from the primary site that was going to go down by the edge of Fosgate to this spot for future budget concerns, and this was decided on a budgetary manner in a budgetary meeting. It was not out in open process. I feel that it fails the Florida Sunshine Law, where we were, that you should have come to us, because what actually happened is, we were all kind of shown this with the library unveiling, the presentation that this is going to cost $50 a month per resident, and this was to get rid of the septic tanks and do the good thing for the environment. Well, this is a major bait and switch to say you're going to move this now into my backyard. Our home values are going to plummet. For someone who says, well, I live in that neighborhood. Well, you, I think, are padding your resume so you can put this $30 million grant on your list and then move along. Because if you were in where I look out and going to have that behind me, there's no way in hell a person would go for that. I can't understand the intelligence of this council.
I have a little bit of a problem with you sitting there.
I'm sorry,
I'm having
sir.
a problem
I'm
with you.
allowed my opinion.
That's right.
I am
But
allowed my opinion, sir. That's right. And that's not going to be for long, buddy. Let me just tell you.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's it.
Go for
Okay?
it. Go for it.
You work for us.
I know that. What's your point?
Remember, let him talk.
No, he keeps making allegations. Don't make allegations.
Overpower me like you've done in the past. I'm sorry. I'm an educated guy, and I'm allowed my rights. And my rights here, I'm paying for this microphone, not you. Okay, so I'm allowed to speak.
Yes, I am
so
too. I'm a resident here also.
Yeah, well, you represent us.
I agree with you.
You didn't do a job for us, and that's why this is here tonight.
This group is here because we're appalled that you took our goodwill saying we put our trust in you. The council, the mayor, the attorney, the city manager. And to now have us have to fight you like this, I would expect some people to resign. This is really abhorrent that you come in here with this idea that it's going to be okay for the lake, and we don't know. Well, that's not good enough. We spent our lives to be able to climb into a neighborhood like this. And for us to sit here and have you say, well, I remember, Jim, you with your look on your face, you said you got back on the board because you wanted to get the things done right before somebody else came along. I heard that from the council about 2 years ago, where people, Billy and the rest of them, are all like, "Oh, well, we're the ones enlightened, and we're going to make the decisions." Well, no, you work for us.
Agreed.
Okay, so
Never
what I
said
would like
otherwise.
to say, I would like to have the mayor and the council put this on a complete freeze as of tomorrow morning, so that we can take time to unfold this, and maybe, just maybe, find a better spot for this than right in the middle of Montverde, a stone's throw from Bella Collina. I mean, that is ridiculous that you're going to be putting I grew up in Northampton, Ohio, in my younger years from 5 to like 15. We had a plant like this down the street. You could smell it 5 miles away. There's no way in hell someone's going to tell me that it's going to be odorless and you won't even know it's there. That's a person who doesn't live on one. And so that was not what we were presented with. Was that what we were presented with? No. So, to have us all show up tonight when we found out about this less than 24 hours ago, you must really, when you leave the meeting tonight, you must think, my God, what did I step in? Well, you got our attention. I canceled college class tonight to come here because I'm like, well, you know what, am I going to let these people just sit here and tell us, well, it's too late or we've already spent the money. No, what I understand is you can cancel this for about 20% of what the money you got into it, and our budget would easily handle a $200,000 fine. Just let that $29 million go away. I would be for that as opposed to what you've got going on right now. So I asked the council, what is the administrative, or the attorney, what is the administrative path for this body, these homeowners, to have remedy that we don't want this? What is the action that we have to go? Besides coming up here and yelling at you.
You're doing it right now. Y'all
Well,
doing it.
I
Look,
can't go tomorrow morning.
You have changed my mind. Totally.
Thank you.
Dan Davis.
Damn, Dan.
I'm Dan Davis, 16849 Lake Street. My family owns all of the property north of the sewer plant site. We have 2 residences on it. We have 2 homes on it. I was told absolutely nothing. I just happened to be talking to somebody when we got back from Missouri, and they told me it's pretty much, they told me it was pretty much a done deal by the time I heard about it. Thank you.
Come on up.
Good evening. I'm Sidney Bright. I live at 16431 Magnolia Bluff Drive. I have been there for 23 years next month. 7th family that moved into Mag Terrace. And beautiful, beautiful place. When we chose the area, built the home, built the future. I too am concerned about several things, but I'm going to leave those things which have already been said. Of course, I know about half of you on the committee. I've known Joe for several years, used to go to church. Jim, your Robin and my Robin volunteered at ASTA too, and then your girls, my boys, grew up together. Sean, from a standpoint, you and Ivy, the kids were around together. Alan, we met you through sister-in-laws. So, from the standpoint, then I hope to be able to get to know the others. And that's one thing that the town of Montverde was so appealing to. When I built that house, I needed 18 inches of variance. Helen Pierce would not give me that 18 inches. So would not even allow me to bring it to council or anything like that. So I am glad tonight that we have the opportunity to participate in the fashion that we do. So in saying all that, thank you for all that you do to work with us and for us. Just to reiterate, there was a great job of introducing this project and the potential and the good for us. The transparency of where we're at now, I'm just going to leave it at that. You did a very poor job at communicating and telling us of the changes. Question in regards to liability. I am a property and casualty insurance individual. I only have 38 years of experience. I'm currently a regulatory compliance manager for a multi-billion-dollar company. So my first question is, who carries the liability policy that covers the town of Montverde?
League of Cities.
Who?
League of Cities.
League of Cities. And what are our limits?
Scott.
It's 10 million, isn't it?
10 million?
I believe it's 10 million.
That would be for injury, pollution, everything?
I
$10
believe-
million of protection?
I think it is. I haven't looked at
I
it.
hope it's a little bit more, Joe, just to be honest with you.
It's probably what we can afford, guys.
Well, we're gonna need to afford a whole lot more. I mean, from a standpoint, we're in Florida. Do we not have hurricanes?
Well, luckily,
Would there be
we're in the middle.
You know, overflow of that sewage system to all of the properties, the health issues, the environmental concerns. I do not understand how that cannot be considered in the planning. Just like
Now,
Kara and
why do you
Micah-
say we're not considering it?
Well,
you
if-
make it a statement, please.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you for clarifying that. My wrong. Just like Kira and Micah, I too, me and my family will look out our window from the kitchen to watch this. We are 3 houses down from where Lake Street is. So Kara is 2 houses down. So it's right there in my pictorial windows. But I'm very concerned about the liability coverage that we have, guys, for the town. So, if we can look at that. Land use. I have always understood that stand of trees along with the other orange grove on the other side that is zoned agriculture. Can anyone confirm that?
It's R1L.
And that will be fine for what we need to do for a sewage treatment center, or will that have to be changed by the county?
I believe it's in the city limits and it is allowed under R1L, I believe.
Okay, could not find that, so. But these are my concerns along with some of the others that have mentioned, looking and understanding the potential of what it will do to all of us. I too request that we halt this and find a better solution. Thank you.
Better switch that mic real quick.
Oh, okay. I can project.
Running out of battery?
Hi, I'm Angela Ellis, 16419 Magnolia Bluff Drive. Kiara and him, it is literally right outside my back door. I'm a softball coach outside of work. I coach softball. I coach softball at Westfield, or West Park, and I coach softball over at the Hancock Fields. Both of those fields have sewer treatment plants.
They have what?
Sewer treatment plants, what we're about to build. Both of those fields, I have had to cancel, reschedule, or move our practice somewhere else on days that are too hot, that it smells up the fields. Because our girls get sick and can't stay on the field. I have literally had to pull the girls off the field and say, you know what, we're doing weight training today. Let's go back to the school. Because they can't stay on the field because of the smell. So, I can't say, hey guys, let's pick up the house and move it over here for the day. Can't do that. I've got kids. I've got 2 kids. Kiara's got kids. Linda's got kids. That whole street is full of kids and full of elderly people that we've got to make sure that we're taking care of. and we can't physically pick that up and move it. I can move practice, I can't move my house. So please, let's put this on pause.
Hi, my name is Herb Heilman. I'm at 17005 Florence View Drive. I normally don't come to the council meetings because I have great confidence in this town council. I've been here 20 years. We moved to Montverde because it's a great place. We came from New Jersey, we saw this place, and we just said, this is it. And we've got like the Garden of Eden in our backyard. But now I'm about 3-4 houses down from where this thing is supposed to go. I'm shocked. I'm really shocked that you folks are thinking about putting this thing right in a residential area. It's shocking. I really had a lot more confidence in this council than this. Now, I've heard the attorney say that this is the only place it can go. I spent many years in construction as a construction manager back in Jersey, built hospitals. There's never only one place. For instance, if that piece of land had already been developed, would it then be impossible to put in a sewer plant in Montverde? Of course it wouldn't. You'd find another way. So my plea to this council is that you consider the people that this is affecting. My dad was a freeholder back in New Jersey. They wanted to widen the road. He said, I gotta find out what the people that live on that road think. Chamber of Commerce wanted that road widened. It's gonna be good for commerce, good for the town. I drove my father around. He went from door to door in the rain, asking the people, what do you think? No, freeholder, we don't want this because our kids are gonna be going out, our whole yard will be taken away. We don't want it, please. My dad stood against that. Chamber of Commerce came against him. There was, I think there was about 50,000 votes cast. He lost by about 100 votes because the Chamber of Council, the Chamber of Commerce, worked against him, spreading lies because they didn't want him in there. But he cared about the people, and he was willing to go down for the people. That's what I'm asking you guys to do. Thank you.
How many times?
Kenny Mulberry against 1777 Sugar Pine Way. Just wanted to kind of go back and reiterate how it seems that everybody here is in opposition to at least this side, if not more, and overall. Health, safety, very important to everybody. Not long ago where we knew that the possibility of spit going the wrong way might cause a, I don't know, big impact. Now we're going to add an H in the middle of that word, okay? I'll keep it G-rated. There is a G-rated audience. You can figure that one, okay? The impact of this on nature, on people, on our water, on endangered species is just too great of a cost. You can't get it back. There are plenty of places, and I don't need to bring you up on current events, in the world where the water is contaminated and many, many years trying to correct that problem. Now, it's up to you guys if you want to play Russian roulette with our drinking water. I don't. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait a minute. I asked this gentleman here to come up.
Hello, I'm Matthew Beasley, 16526 Highland Avenue. This is my first council meeting. So, been here 8 years. Our family lives just to the north of the wonderful neighbors, the Davis family. So I'm on the tip top of Montverde. So my house porch is 185 feet above sea level, I guess. So, again, the text and everything broke this weekend, and everybody everybody was at a loss. The only other meeting I've been to at Montverde was when it came out that, hey, come get free food and talk about the initial stages over at the community center. And so we went and talked with some people and about the plan, about the whole concept. And when they started throwing out numbers, you know, for 10 million we'll do this, and then, you know, maybe 20 million we'll get this, I just kind of laughed. I've been in the municipal wastewater manufacturing business, pump business, for over 4 decades. I am that old, okay? So the whole point is there's got to be other options, whether it's tagging on to another municipal sewage system out of Winter Garden, out of Claremont, like the other development on Blacksteel did. All I'm saying is there's got to be other options to consider. You may have picked the best thing and we just don't understand that now. I don't think so. The other big, I don't know how much land is here, but instead of redoing, closing the street, expanding the park, and et cetera, creating more parking issues for the little town, was this considered as well? This area right here to our north.
You're talking about the baseball park?
Yeah, exactly.
It's under a unique situation. The land was given to us 100 years ago. Mita can confirm this. And we can't make it anything but a park.
A park with a sewage system, I get it. No. Okay. But I appreciate it. But all I'm saying is everyone here obviously is upset, and the communication, like it wasn't in the water bill, it wasn't plain and simple. Like the beginning, all of this was very clear in a lot of stuff. And my neighbors can attest, I was, you know, in favor of having a modern sewer system. One, it's going to be state law between now and 20 whatever. Probably I won't be around, but between now and then, it's got to come. So it's got to happen some way. I just hope that you look for alternatives and put a hold on this. And if it costs, it costs. Thank you.
Anybody else? Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Thomas Johnson. I live in Magnolia Terrace. I want to say that, first of all, we have a great turnout this evening. These folks have certainly done their homework, and I appreciate each and every one of you coming up with your valid points. But I know you as the council have taken it on the chin. You've been hit with some uppercuts, overhand rights, and you're still standing. I still have trust that you're going to work for us and do the right thing. Paul, I want to thank you for writing those grants. I know you all know this was a great thing when we started, but I noticed that you look as if the wind has been knocked out of your sail, because I know you've put in a lot of work for this. I just asked the council to pump the brakes on this. I know that Montverde, there's a lot of talent comes out here, comes out of Montverde, and you all are pretty intelligent, and anything is possible. We as the homeowners know that this doesn't fit, so we need to quit.
Well, I guess we totally understand. Does somebody else want to come up? Oh, yes, sir. Come on.
Donald Lippum, 16533 Pine Timber Avenue. It is great to see this turnout tonight. I guess personally, I would have liked to have seen this much when it was in my backyard in the Pines. And now that the location impacts more people, we get that turnout, which is finally a good thing. This all started as just a research process. In that very first meeting, it was said, well, this is essentially free money. We're going to look at this to see if this is something that we need to do. And if we get down the road and decide we don't need to do it, it's not money that comes out of our budget. It's grant money that has been found. And that was how it was all kind of presented to us. There's a couple of things that have come up tonight. We've talked about Bella Colina, and I think you said it was 2002 when that one was built. Yes, the Academy does have a treatment plant close to Lake Florence. I think I've heard, and I could be wrong, that that's starting to fail. So there's some issues with that. So it would be good for them to get onto a system. But I think what's important there is that if we're saying that Bella Colina was 2002, it's 18 years ago. Well, whatever, it's just over 20 years ago. But that's us in 20 years. So to say, well, that's old technology, that's us in the not too distant future. One thing that I've asked and tried to find information on and still can't, and it was one of those questions I asked in the very beginning, is how we pay for this system once it's up and running. And I know it's going out in phases, but are people in phase 2 and phase 3 going to be required to cover this ongoing maintenance expense as phase 1 is being built?
Well, the way I understand it, and it's not very clear to me, is that the revenue that will come in will pay for the operations of the plant. I have zero experience at running a plant. I have no idea.
So we move forward with a plan that we don't have coverage for yet. And we've talked about how, like, Willow Ridge has been great for the town financially because we've got all those new connections and we've got those fees. And we're generating revenue from those services. And I'm sorry, but I personally can't help but feel like I'm going to be that next revenue source. And I'm going to end up paying through the nose for a system that I'm not even on because I think I'm in phase 3 or 4 on the map that I saw. And initially it was discussed that it was going to be voluntary. And I was very surprised that there's 300 houses in Magnolia Terrace. I've driven through there a number of times. I've never counted. That's a lot of houses. But we're basing that on them all joining. And I don't think you got a lot of support from them tonight. And if we get 10 houses in Magnolia Terrace that join, who's paying for the rest of it? I still think that that's such an important element to this. A business owner wouldn't go open a business without at least a solid understanding of what their sales revenue is going to be, how they're going to cover their overhead. They wouldn't invest in it. We wouldn't do that. And to continue down this road without some solid idea of who's responsible and who's on the hook for this, I think is just, it's questionable. It's not good business practices for us. And all of our talk tonights have been about location. It's right in the middle of town. I get that. Stetcher was essentially my backyard, but it's down the hill. Nobody's really going to see it. But if that's truly our only location, and I don't know the ins and outs of 2030 and that requirement, it's a legal document that I don't understand. But from what I do understand about it, you're required to connect to a system if it exists. And if it doesn't exist, on-site treatment plants must use nitrogen-reducing systems. So if that is the only site, and we can't build it anywhere else, the system wouldn't exist. And if it doesn't exist, how does that apply to, how does 2030 then apply to us? Are we implying then that the government bilaterally is saying that we're mandating that every homeowner, the people in the Green Swamp, have no sewer that they're going to connect to? It's just not feasible. And from what I understand of 2030, it has to exist. So if there's any clarification on truly what that requirement is, I think that would be something that we'd all like to know as well. So that if it doesn't exist, can we not utilize nitrogen reducing in our own on-site systems? I think the biggest thing though is I don't want to be on the hook for a system I'm not a part of. And we've not been able to indicate that or clarify that one way or the other.
As far as revenue, yeah.
Right. It's not going to be cheap.
Conspiracy theory.
Come on.
Okay.
Can the attorney explain, maybe I didn't hear it, I got here late, what happened with Fosgate exactly that we were all shown, hey, this is the plan, it's going to be out here, and it was pretty much, I thought, accepted at some point. That did negotiations stall? Are we now looking long-term? Why did this Fosgate plan all of a sudden got moved up to Lake? what happened with that in negotiation? Is it more money? How many millions? Tell us like we were there, so we understand. Anita, I'm talking to you. Is that something you can share with us? Thank you.
I have to be careful what I say because of the different lawsuits. But I'm letting
Mayor,
the attorney.
if he's talking about Fosgate, so if that's the Stetcher property,
Yeah.
Paul explained that during his presentation as to why that site was not suitable.
Oh, because of the extra drainage and go ahead and explain again real quick.
Sure, yeah, it's mainly it was the mounding of the ribs was causing issues with the topography of the site and the mounding that would occur in the proximity to the wetland. So I guess in more layman terms is as those ribs went into the ground, the water would then actually come out of the ground and roll down the hill to the wetlands was the issue. So we were in a situation where if we built the plant out there and put the $3.5 to $4 million line to get it out there, we would probably have less than 150 to 200 homes that could be hooked up out there. And so there was no room for expansion out there. And that's been kind of somewhat of the difficulties looking at the sites, just the beauty of Montverde, but also the issue is we're trapped on all sides with the Turnpike and the lake and Bella Collina, then the ISBA with the Ferndale that you can't extend utilities. There's just not a lot of places to run. We are running our sewer from Willow Ridge over to the Claremont wastewater treatment plant. And originally we did look into that and try to negotiate that. They just have zero capacity in the line going from the lift station that's over there on Hancock all the way down to the treatment plant. So they're not even sure what they're going to do in the future on it.
Well, let me go ahead and move on. Let me go ahead and move on. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Come on. Yeah, you have. I'm sorry.
I just want to introduce myself. I know we got a little heated. My name is Micah Pergram. I'm 16443 Magnolia Bluff. I don't have any qualifications. I'm not a doctor or anything like that. I'm a Florida cracker. That's pretty good. There's a couple of you here. There's a couple of us in here. That's all, right? I'm also a U.S. Marine. That's my wife right there. I don't have anything, but I'll tell you what. You guys have talked about this in a lot of those. There's no minutes to prove it, but you guys had it that you could put up there. Paul, I know you lived in the neighborhood. I'll get to you in a minute. I planned fire missions in the Marine Corps. If I would have had that many times talking about something, I would have known a little bit more about it. You guys don't have a lot of answers. Council, you don't even have a lot of answers. Paul, you live in our neighborhood. You could walk over to my house. Hell, you walk my street. How many times a week do you walk my street? When they build this, you better still live in that neighborhood. I don't have anything to lose. I own the house.
Oh, Lord.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
That's all. Thank you. Thank you for having us, actually.
Thank you. All right, this is it. Last time.
Look, I know everybody sits down and says, I should have said such and
I
such.
know, it's just one little question.
Okay, good.
On the communication end of it, I mean, it says it was communicated out and everything, and that's fine. It may have been. I don't know. I didn't see it, and I don't think anybody else did.
We will
but-
concede we sure could have communicated better.
No
doubt on that one.
Yeah, I'm just asking, does any of the township have Facebook?
They what?
Facebook? Because I think that's how most of us figured this out. If the town had access to Facebook, just
Yeah, I manage
on the
it.
town of Montverde, hey, we're gonna have this meeting.
All right, well-
Everybody here would have known about it 2 years ago when you guys started talking about it.
Right, but we can do that. We just haven't done it in the past.
Don't leave people just getting interested.
All right, this is the last individual,
All right,
and we'll
come
talk
on
now.
up.
Come on up.
I do have one more question, just for clarification. I know when it first came out and we all sat here in this room and talked about the sewer, that it was just research. We talked about that earlier. With that being said, now that we've received grant money, if this is halted, what are the implications now of using any of that grant money? Have we used that grant money, and what comes from that if we have? Is there anything like within the grant that says that you have to pay it back, or were we able to use that and then not finish the project if that's what we choose? Or is there a time limit that you have to use it within?
Yeah, we'll have to research the implications of what we used and not used. I don't know the answer to that specifically. there is pretty stringent time limits on all of it. Some of it actually has to be committed to by the end of this year, and different grants can only be used for different things. So there's one pot that only may be accessible for purchase of land. There's one pot that has to go for sewer heat hookups but can't use for wastewater treatment plants. So it's kind of a mirage of a couple hundred pages of grant documents that go through. So
I've done some grant writing
yeah.
before, so I understand that.
Yeah,
which is a good
there's
question.
lots of strings attached basically to everything.
So are we going to be on the hook to pay back money, do you know, at this point, with what we've used?
We will have to look in that and get back
Yeah.
to council.
And then, okay,
I
so-
think
We don't know what
the
it costs. We don't know.
yeah I think the biggest thing we have to look at is in taking the grants, the project is committed to the Basin Management Action Plan as a reduction in water quality. So that's the biggest probably implication we need to look at.
Okay, and then I think one more thing that we haven't clarified, we've talked a lot about what the plans were. Is this actually moving forward? I know that this is the proposed site, and this is what you're moving forward with. There's equipment out there, but is this something that is moving forward that we're contractually obligated to at this point? I've read in some of the documentation in the RFP that we have till October for them to gather all that information and propose it to you guys. But what commitments do we have from the town to any of these companies?
I'll have you. I will say everything's a continual process. I mean, there's lots of more that has to be looked at. There's, as we go through the process, there's a lot more approvals for council if they decide to move forward with everything. So everything comes back to the council at public meetings, as it has been from the very
So
beginning.
the reality of us asking you guys to put a hold on this, is that something that is possible at this point?
More than likely, the money we need, I would say a 98% chance we would lose the money if we stopped at this point.
Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you. We're all done.
Just again,
We're done.
just answering a question.
We're done.
No,
We're done.
One time up.
We're
One
done.
time up.
We're done,
Two
Bob. We're
times
done.
for you. What do you want to come up again?
Okay, thank you very much. What we're gonna have to do here, let me speak. I know.
understand.
Let me, what I think we need to do is we don't understand the options. So to discuss them here is a little bit hard, because we didn't think about stopping. So I don't really know what the answer is to that. And I think I should. Okay? So let me talk.
you've had your discussion.
I let you talk. Let me talk, all right?
It's our turn.
We're gonna have to get into the different possibilities at this point. Possibly moving it, possibly ending it. Those are the two big ones, obviously, right here and now. I don't know the answers to that. What the consequences are if we do end it, that kind of thing. So I think what the council needs at this point, and I think they would agree with me, if not, speak up, that we instruct our attorney and our city manager to bring back to us. And let's not keep it in a council meeting next month. We'll have another special meeting next month, and we'll discuss that further. Those two things are big things right there. Can we stop it? How much does it cost? If it doesn't stop us, I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you, okay? If we do stop it, how much will it cost us? Is it possible? Blah, blah, blah. And then we'll relook at locations and see if there's any alternative at all. So we'll try to get those two things, and they're the two big things, and go from there. And then give us a little time, and then we'll call a special meeting next month. Everybody come back, and we'll be able to give you those two answers, or those two directions. But that's about as far as we could get, honestly, tonight. It's obviously a big problem. We agree. I don't think anybody's disagreeing. I wouldn't want it in my backyard.
I don't blame you.
So that's not a problem. No, I don't think anybody has a problem with how you're reacting to it. And we'll even try to be much, much better than we have been as far as communication. We just follow the processes that we're supposed to. I honestly don't think about it, because, Paul and our town clerk put it in the news and all that stuff. So we'll pay more attention to that. But let me just go ahead and end the meeting. Give us some 30 days. We'll get another meeting going, and we'll have some answers for you.
We heard you. We heard you. We heard you. Okay?
Okay.
So, So just real quick, Mayor, and just everybody, I appreciate just legally, the council cannot take action on this because it's not an agenda item tonight. So the mayor's correct. We need to put it on the agenda before they could take any action. So it is a process, just as I know some say it wasn't properly advertised. We legally can't take a motion and do anything tonight. So we'll gather the information. Council has been, everybody hears you, everybody understands. We'll get the information so they can make an educated decision, and council will fall through.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for
You're very
coming
welcome.
out.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
We heard you. You're not gonna try to get a last word in, are you?
Question. This concerns me. Do we play class warfare?
You gotta read.
Do we play class warfare? Oh, let's move it over here so the people in the Pines, then they go, we don't want it in our neighborhood. Oh, let's put it here by the trailer park. Wait, because of trailer park?
Well, I mean, you guys need to,
That's a big thing. It was like, we don't
Well-
want our neighborhood, we're rich. Okay, well, we're rich because of the grace of God allowed you.
Well, the fire
Yeah.
station, that land's already been sold to the county. They're not gonna wanna give that up. They wanted that land big time, big time. That was their priority.
I make a
Put
motion we
station in
adjourn.
this area. They're
I
not
make a
gonna give
motion we adjourn.
I would be very
I
surprised.
second the motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
That's a good deal.
Aye.
That's
I
been
guess.
sold.
Stay strong.
What's that?
Stay strong.
Hey, you can tell him retired police chief, can't you?
That might be it. That might be enough.
I would have woke up at 3 in the morning.
I can fire it up.
It's over there.
I have to leave. Two of us can't be here while you're talking.
No,
I don't know
come
if they
back,
want it there.
come back and,
Give me a
When
moment to
your
gather myself.
sirens going off,
Let me
the
have-
neighbors gonna be tickled over that because
We can't discuss it.
thanks. Give us a month. We'll
thanks
put
for
it,
coming.
yeah.